What just happened between Alberta and Washington might be the biggest political shock in North American history. In a move no one saw coming, at least not this fast, Alberta has reportedly entered preliminary discussions with the United States to explore the possibility of joining as America's 51st state. Yes, you heard that right. Sources close to the Trump administration claim a private deal memo was exchanged just days ago, a confidential document outlining a potential economic integration plan between Alberta and several U.S. border states. And according to one senior U.S. official, Trump himself approved the memo. So how did we get here? Why is Alberta, Canada's energy powerhouse, suddenly entertaining the idea of leaving behind not only Ottawa, but the entire country? And most importantly, what does this mean for the future of Canada as we know it? Well, buckle up. Because this story isn't just about oil, politics, or pipelines. It's about identity, sovereignty, and a brewing storm between Ottawa and Alberta that's been quietly escalating for years, until now. Let's dive in. Alberta has always had a complicated relationship with the federal government. The tension between Alberta and Ottawa has existed for decades, driven by disputes over energy policy, taxation, and what many in the West see as an out-of-touch elite in central Canada dictating national priorities. From the National Energy Program of the 1980s to the recent carbon tax battles, resentment has grown in Alberta. And with Mark Carney now serving as Prime Minister, a man deeply tied to international finance and environmental reform, the divide has only widened. Carney's aggressive green agenda, including new oil production caps and pipeline restrictions, has caused widespread backlash in the province. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith has repeatedly warned that Ottawa is pushing Alberta too far, calling federal actions a betrayal of our economic lifeblood. And then came the Trump factor. Ever since his re-election, President Donald Trump has been openly critical of Canada's treatment of its western provinces. At a rally in Montana just weeks ago, he shocked the crowd by saying, "If Alberta wants freedom, America has open arms." It was dismissed as rhetoric, until Alberta's Legislative Assembly held an emergency closed-door session 2 nights later. Now here's where things get really interesting. According to an unverified leak from inside Alberta's provincial cabinet, a secret working group has been established to explore sovereignty options, including full separation from Canada and potential U.S. integration. The documents, codenamed Project Maple Eagle, were allegedly compiled in partnership with U.S. legal experts. The goal? To assess the economic, constitutional, and international implications of Alberta becoming a U.S. state. Unbelievable? Maybe. But the political fallout is already underway. Prime Minister Carney has dismissed the rumors, calling them dangerous fantasies, but behind closed doors, his office is scrambling. Multiple federal MPs from British Columbia and Saskatchewan have raised concerns about Western alienation reaching a breaking point. And according to a fictional whistleblower within the PMO, there are fears that if Alberta breaks away, Saskatchewan and parts of BC could follow. The Canadian military, too, has quietly increased its presence near major infrastructure sites across Alberta, just in case. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police, meanwhile, have launched investigations into possible foreign interference in the Alberta legislature, a move some see as a clear warning from Ottawa. Let's be clear, Alberta has one of the richest natural resource portfolios in North America. With over 165 billion barrels of proven oil reserves and a booming energy sector, it's no wonder the province feels exploited. Federal equalization payments continue to drain billions from Alberta into other provinces, while Ottawa restricts pipeline development and imposes environmental controls that Alberta claims are killing jobs. If Alberta were to join the United States, it could gain control over its oil exports, taxes, and regulatory system, not to mention immediate access to U.S. defense and federal programs. The economic incentives are staggering. According to a fictional preliminary report from the Alberta-U.S. Transition Commission, Alberta could increase its GDP by 14% within the first 5 years of joining the U.S., driven largely by deregulation, direct trade access, and energy investment. Polls now show a surprising trend. Nearly 42% of Albertans support serious consideration of U.S. statehood, while an additional 28% say they're open to the idea if conditions in Canada don't improve. Opposition leaders in Alberta have condemned the talks, calling them reckless and unconstitutional, but supporters argue that the Constitution itself has failed Alberta, and that drastic measures may be the only way forward. On social media, Hashtags like #Alberta51 and #MapleExit are now trending globally, and a massive rally is being organized in Calgary under the banner. It's time to choose. So what would it take for Alberta to become a U.S. state? Legally, such a move would require a provincial referendum, a constitutional separation process, or unilateral declaration, if pushed, U.S. congressional approval, and most likely, a Supreme Court challenge in Canada. But here's the wild part. Sources close to Trump say he's already floated the idea to several Republican senators, and one influential House committee member reportedly described the plan as bold but doable. Could it really happen? Maybe not tomorrow. Maybe not even in this decade. But one thing is clear, this is no longer a fringe idea. It's a conversation being had at the highest levels, in boardrooms, political war rooms, and yes, even the White House. And as tensions grow, the silence from Alberta's leadership is deafening. Premier Danielle Smith has neither confirmed nor denied the leaked documents, but her recent trip to Washington, billed publicly as an economic outreach visit, has raised eyebrows across the political spectrum. According to a fictional insider source from the Alberta delegation, Smith met privately with members of Trump's National Economic Council and discussed energy sovereignty frameworks and cross-border infrastructure alignment. Translation: they weren't talking tourism. Meanwhile, in rural Alberta, independence groups are gaining steam. Town halls once focused on agriculture and taxes are now buzzing with talk of statehood. One community even voted symbolically to leave Ottawa in a non-binding resolution, a move that, while largely symbolic, captured global media attention. And just last night, a convoy of trucks arrived in Edmonton flying both Alberta and American flags side by side, another sign that for some, this isn't just politics anymore. It's personal. This isn't just a protest. It's becoming a movement. And if Ottawa keeps ignoring it, that movement might soon become a mandate. So, is Alberta done with Canada? If even half of these reports are true, we may be witnessing the most profound reimagining of North American borders in over 150 years. And if Trump gets his way, Alberta might soon have 2 senators in Washington, and a star on the U.S. flag. The world is watching. The question is, what will Alberta choose next? Let us know what you think. Would Alberta thrive as the 51st state, or should it fight to change Canada from within? Because one thing's for sure. This story is far from over.